What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video I want to go over a collection of smaller news stories that maybe went under the radar today, obviously with the Xbox leak being the dominant story and the 500 things really that's come from that. So I want to start with Evil Dead the game, and a pretty disappointing news if we're being honest, considering the game is about a year and a half old. So we got a post from them themselves. This isn't a rumor or a leak or anything like that. And they say, to the Evil Dead the game community, today we have made the decision not to pursue the development of new content for the game. We also confirm that we will not be releasing a Nintendo Switch version of the game. We will keep the servers up for the foreseeable future and address any major issues that arise. On behalf of the entire team at Saber, thank you for all the groovy times and your continued support. Now, this is about as much of a conclusion to a game without saying it's the conclusion to the game that you can get, right? Now, the servers aren't being taken down. It doesn't have a death date like Knockout City, right? Is pretty much dead. I think you can call it that. Friday the 13th, we know kind of its death date. I guess Marvel's Avengers. This one's not there yet, but you're getting very, very close, right? And honestly, I can imagine by 2.5 years, maybe a year from now, the game will probably be taken down, which is very disappointing. I like this game quite a bit now. To be fair, I haven't played it since the first month it's been out, so you can call me a hypocrite or whatever. I've never said that I've played it recently, but I liked it when it first came out. I actually played it quite a bit. I actually got quite good at it, and I respect that they nailed it for it being a game that's like a Texas Chainsaw or Evil Dead, Friday the 13th. These games are really cool, and I think this game is actually one of the most unique of the entire group. So sad to see the Switch version's canceled and they're not doing anything more to it. And the big hint there, right, is that they're going to keep the servers up for the foreseeable future and address any major issues that arise. That doesn't sound like they're going to be around for that much longer, and it doesn't sound like they're going to be around for anything but the absolute worst case bug issues or big things like that. Besides that, they're kind of done with the game. So that's a little sad. Next up is the news story of what didn't happen, and it's John Wick not being in Mortal Kombat 1. So this came right from Ed Boon, actually. Ed Boon had said that they had tried to get John Wick in Mortal Kombat 1, and they couldn't get the license for him. So not too much to say there, other than that would have been rather cool. We're starting to get all the rumors of, DLC characters that are probably coming to the game. We just talked about Ghostface on my main channel yesterday. So there's some pretty cool stuff, I think, coming to Mortal Kombat, but it is sad that John Wick doesn't make it. And then I just really quickly want to talk about Game Pass and PS Plus, because again, Xbox had a lot of stuff going on today. I feel like this actually went very, very under the radar, even though, some of these things, Lies of P, Payday 3, we knew those two were coming to Game Pass, so that's not much of a surprise. But Party Animals, who I know a couple of the community members here are actually really excited for that game. But the big one is Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights coming to Game Pass, I believe, the first week of October. Somebody had actually commented on a video I did a year ago on Podcast Now. I had called this. I thought that Gotham Knights made a lot of sense to come to Game Pass, and I speculated last year. I think maybe I was talking about a day one, launch day, or maybe it was afterwards, but about a year later, I think the game came out October 21st, so roughly around a year after we get Gotham Knights coming to Game Pass. I think that's a pretty darn big deal. And then for PlayStation Plus, a lot of this stuff was already known. This was kind of just an update to it in terms of the game trials, in terms of just the games added, whether it's premium or extra. But one thing I want to talk about, besides in terms of the games being added, it's dominated by Star Ocean. I remember people kind of making jokes about that it's the Star Ocean day for PlayStation Plus. I think there's 4 or so games or versions of Star Ocean coming just in one update. But the games that are being removed, I feel like this is new, although I'm not 1,000% sure, but there's actually some pretty darn big ones. Deathloop, Watch Dogs 1 and 2, I believe Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 remastered. I think 0, Kiwami 1, and Kiwami 2 were removed last month. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty positive at least 2 Yakuza games left a month or 2 ago. So it looks like maybe it's because of Like a Dragon, Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. Maybe it's because of that. but it seems like by the time we get to November, there's going to be no Yakuza games left on PlayStation Plus. So it kind of and this is not like a war, by the way. I know I'm doing this after Xbox. Xbox, in terms of the Game Pass, I think it's more about the addition, Gotham Knights kind of being a cool move. PlayStation Plus, they've been on a roll. Like, they normally have, I'd say they have way more good months than they have bad months. This is probably not the greatest month, okay? Star Ocean is cool, and I want to play, actually, all the Star Ocean games eventually, but there's no real big, I guess, like Nier's a really big one, but there's not too many big games being added. And then when you look at the list of the games that are being removed from it, some pretty... in fact, I didn't know, like, seeing Watch Dogs 1 and 2, that kind of... now, I own both of them, so it doesn't really matter to me. But that's those are two big ones, or that's a big franchise. Like I said, Deathloop, Yakuza, big names being removed from PlayStation Plus. And the final story I want to talk about really quick is just an update to the number of players playing Starfield. So I think we got around, 5 million just a few days after the game launched. It was massive. It was the biggest Bethesda launch that they've had, and this continues, right? So we're here sitting, it's not actually been all that long since Starfield came out. It feels like it's like ages ago, but 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks if you want to count the deluxe edition. So a little less than 2 weeks, I believe, when they gave the number, because I think they gave the number like September 6th or September 7th. So about 2 weeks later, the number doubled. I don't know if that will continue. I mean, literally doubling like that would actually be pretty difficult, but I'd imagine that in a month, like early October, which would be a month after the game comes out, I would not be surprised if the game hit 15 million. And I've said it before, I thought because of Game Pass that Starfield would hit 20 to 25 million. That was my number. And I mean, there's only 25 million Game Pass subscribers out there, although you do imagine Starfield probably increased that number. I don't know if Starfield will hit that, even though obviously sales, right? It can sell as well as being on Game Pass. But I think still like 20 million is a pretty reachable number, even in like the first couple months, like by the end of this year, 2023. I could imagine them saying we reached 20 million. I think that's honestly very possible. So congrats to the game. It's doing everything that Xbox, I think, wanted it to do. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.